Okay, let's get going. Don't want to take everybody's afternoon away. Thanks, guys, for joining. Appreciate it. I'm glad you can make it. So, yeah, today we're going to speak about two subjects, two topics. The first one is going to be a new feature we've implemented called payment history or payment audit logs. Essentially, you'll be able to see all of the kind of the changes that were made within your team in regards to payments. So that can reflect anything in invoices, refunds, things like that. And I'll showcase and go into more depth about that. Cool. And then the second part is, and I actually went over this last week at the end, but because it was such a hit and because people really were receptive to it, I thought I'd bring it up again and make sure everybody was aware of it because it seems like it's very helpful for people. And that is the ability to see customer lists on your mobile devices. Normally, when the tech pulls up the mobile app, they have to go into a job to see customer information, right? But we've kind of enabled a setting where, without even going into a job, they can select and view all of the customers that you have, and they can view all the information like history, work orders, contact info. It's really helpful, like for the ability for the text to like just call a customer if need be, right from the app. So cool. I'll show how to do that and go into that. So cool. It looks like I've shared my screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Just a quick reference again, if you haven't done so already, please select the green microphone button on the Go To Training control panel, and that will cut any feedback. And then at the end of the webinar, you can select it again and ask questions. So in the meantime, just select that green microphone button for everybody else. Cool. All right, so I am logged into my test account here. My name's not Michael, my name's Kevin. But what I'll do is I'll go over to the accounting tab. And if I select any of these four, actually except recurring invoices. So if I select invoices, payments, or refunds, and I dig into these particular features or these particular area. So let's look at invoices, and let's look at invoices we sent out over the past month. And so what happens if I select a particular invoice, I will be able to see history of this invoice. And so if I scroll down to the bottom, or easy enough, if I collapse this field, there is a new tab called Audit History. So this is something we've just created. And so if I open this up, now I can see all of the history that's been done in regards to this particular invoice. So there's a couple things to note. It's obviously going to give the ability to sort it. So if you want to look at whatever's been the latest, you can sort of that to the top. We have different users for you to select. QB Sync Engine, most of the time that's going to mean that we automatically synced with QuickBooks Online, and so that's just going to be referenced. And then otherwise, we're going to list all of the users that you have active under your account. So obviously anybody in the Personnel tab, and you'll be able to filter these down by users. So if you have a team of 15 people, you'll be able to see all of the changes that have been made by these particular users. So it's nice to see, okay, looks like Michael yesterday at 2:20, he changed the balance of this invoice from 0 to 612.12. So our whole point for this kind of implementation is for you to have a record keeping of any changes that were made, obviously by the particular user, the details of what was changed, and then a log of, again, what was exactly changed. And again, once this is, obviously this is only 2 days worth, but if once it gets bigger and there's a lot of pages, you can filter it. So obviously this allows you to, search for a particular, oh, that didn't work. Search for a particular, I think I might just have to search for a particular detail, or if you want to select a duration. So if you want to look at a particular week, particular month, or a range of times. And then it also allows you to select what details you're looking at. So obviously we have a transaction, invoice item, things like that. There's also a refund transaction and activity note. So let's make a quick note here. So let's go up to activity note. So if we did create an activity note within this invoice, let's just call it tests, and let's save it. And I do want to make everybody aware that there is currently just a little bit of a lag. And what that means is if there is changes made, it's going to take just a second or two to populate under this audit history. So I'll check it in just a second, but just beware, it's not instantaneous. So if you make changes, whether it's changing the balance, changing the status, whatever it is, it's not going to be reflected instantaneously. It just take a bit. So be well aware of that so you don't think it's broken. Cool. So again, also you can select the users. There's either the API, there is obviously by your technicians or your personnel, and then QB Sync Engine and System. So System and API, I don't know if you'll see those right away. That could be more in if we or when we do history with like customers. So if that's I'll talk about in a second, but for now, it's probably something you're going to want to look at as far as the users go. And then QB Sync Engine is probably most of the time going to be just, there was an automatic sync with Focus Online. Cool. So let's give it a second. Just want to show you that activity note that we created just to show you what it looks like. So if I scroll down, let's see if it populated. Not just yet. Okay, so again, it takes a minute or two. And it will showcase here. So great. Obviously, you kind of hopefully you understand this. Hopefully, you're able to see the value in this, and it's good to keep a record keeping and just to know what happened with this invoice, why did it get changed, who changed it, what was the day it got changed, things like that. And the same thing goes with payments. And so if we go over to the payments section, and let's find a payment that's been made. So we'll go to a particular payment. And if we go down, again, the audit history is then put in place here. So any sort of history in regards to this payment. And the last thing to showcase is refunds. So if you're offered a refund, you can click on the refund details. And if I scroll down to audit history, cool, all this information is here. So there's a lot to look at over here. I think we're gonna clean up a little bit of this, and so it's a little bit more easier to see. Obviously, there's a lot of zeros here. So that will be kind of cleaned up with some more development work. But this just got launched last week, so this is kind of the initial output we've have. A couple things to note as well is this is the step one of hopefully many steps when it comes to history logs. So as you notice here, this is only in regards to accounting. We are hoping and looking forward to put in place history when it comes to pretty much the whole system, right? We want to have history with customers, work orders, maybe scheduling, and as you probably know, what that would mean is that any sort of changes in those particular areas of Service Bridge, you'll be able to see the logs and history of what happened. So we're giving your team the ability to see all these things. And just be aware as well is this has already been implemented for anybody who is an admin. So if you are admin, you're able to see this. If you do need to make changes, just change your permission settings and roles. But if you are already an admin within the system, you will be able to see all this information. So just be aware of that. Cool. Let's go back to that invoice. I want to show you guys that change, whether it's there or not. We're going to wait for it because hopefully it's worth it. Nope, it's not. Oh well. Okay, cool. So it does take a minute or two to note that I did put an activity note in. So we'll go over to the next feature and come back to this maybe if it's worth your time. All right, so let's jump back to the mobile app, or jump over to the mobile app. So the second portion, perhaps you've seen this 2 weeks ago when I showcased this in the webinar I did last time. But what we're going to show, or I'm going to show, is the ability to view your customers in the mobile app. So what that means is is on the left side. As you can see, this is the iPad version of Service Bridge. So I see my jobs due today, I see jobs total, and then there's a new little tab that appears that says customers. And so if I select that, the technician, anybody in the field, has the ability to find a customer and view information about that customer. And not only that, they can add a new customer within the field. So that's pretty cool too. So if they're out and about and they start chatting with somebody and that person wants an estimate, they can add them right there on the spot. Cool. So otherwise, if they do just want to search for a customer, all you have to do is select the first 3 letters of that customer's name, and then it'll prompt you for which address of that customer or location of that customer you want to look at. And of course, with this as well, you can add a new address. But let's go ahead and select this hospital. And then on the right side, just all the customer information that's handy for this technician to view. So they have the contact person, Peter, his phone number, his email address, what sort of customer notes that he has on file. And on the bottom, you're able to also see things such as jobs that have been done in the past. So if you see jobs you can see jobs that are up and coming, as well as jobs that have been assigned to him. And also too, he can create a job within the field as well. Just select this plus button top right corner, and you're able to add a new job for this customer. Estimates is the next tab over. You can see any estimates in regards to this customer. And the same thing goes with history. So this is kind of the same thing. This is probably estimates and work orders combined, or even tasks combined to show history of this customer. And then on the right side is equipment. So if there's any equipment attached to this customer, they can view it really easily as well. So as I've kind of already noted, I think the most useful part of this feature, we get it a lot, is when techs maybe just have to call a customer. Maybe the tech was out there last week and the customer had a question about something. Instead of the office having to dig through customer records, send over the contact info to the tech, text them, or even create like a fake job, which I've heard a lot of people do, which I don't recommend. All you have to do is just let them know, which customer is inquiring, and obviously then the tech can just search for that customer within the app and pull up their contact info and go from there. Great. So how do I get this feature on my devices for my crew? That's the next question. That's actually something that only we here at Service Bridge can turn on for you. We are discussing the possibility of having it available for you guys to turn on, but that's not implemented right now. So if you are wanting this feature on your mobile devices for your techs, you just have to email me, kevin@servicebridge.com. Let me know who would like, or which devices would like to have this enabled for. If I don't know who the customer is and I can't find it, I'll ask you. But just let me know, what your company name is, which devices you want to turn on for, and then I will enable it. And it's as simply as, once I enable it, they just need to close the app, reopen it, and then they'll be able to see this screen. So yeah, again, kevin@servicebridge.com. Let me know who would like this to be added, and hopefully everyone can see the value, because I think it's really been helpful for a lot of people to implement. I've gotten good feedback from a lot of customers who said this is actually really, really helpful, and actually saves their team a lot of time. So all depends on how much settings and permissions you want to give for your text, but hopefully you can kind of see the value of what this is all about. Cool. So that's kind of it. All I had for today. Real quick, short and sweet. Again, in regards to this audit history, there's going to be some changes with it, minimal, but for the most part, this is only implemented for the accounting. Stay tuned for other history logs in the future. Can't give you a time frame right now, but just know it's certainly being looked at and worked on. Cool. So I guess let's open it up for questions. If any questions have come up, just let me know. You can chat me or turn on your microphone and ask away. Cool. No questions at all, huh? Nothing. Okay. Um, Again, if you want to let me know about turning this on, again, Kevin at servicebridge.com. Yeah, that's a great question or point. It's a great point. Someone brought up just a chat and says, obviously, and that's a great point. The accounting portion has to be actually even enabled for you guys to see these uh, history and audit history. So some of you, I don't know if this is the case, but some of you might even be surprised that there isn't even an accounting portion here. So yeah, that's also something that we need to turn on as well. Accounting, which does enable these four things for you to view. So if that's something you want turned on as well, let me know and I can get that switched on for you guys. Right. Yeah, another good question. Is it possible to create invoices from the application? Not at this moment. No, we've kind of built a system where we want the office to do the invoicing. That seems to be the preferred method for a lot of people. Um, a couple things in regards to this. We're tinkering with the idea of it being possible. I don't see it in the very near future. We've had a couple of people inquire, and it really seemed like they wanted it. It's not impossible. Just one little workaround is, and I'm a fan of workarounds because, you know, if it doesn't work one way and we don't have it, that's certainly not the end of it. But another, if you do really want to send invoices from the fields, they can just log in to servicebridge.com in the internet browser of their device. Obviously, log in to ServiceBridge, their account, and then invoice from the internet instead of, excuse me, the application. And so if they're logged into the internet and they see the job is finished, they can invoice from there. It's a little bit of a more time and a little bit more extra steps, but it does make it possible. Cool. Any questions on the audit history in particular? I hope you guys enjoy this and able to find value in it. Um, Especially if you have a lot of users, a lot of people, working within your accounting system. It's helpful to kind of see the changes that have been made and be able to kind of take steps back and see what got changed and obviously and find out why. So hopefully that is a useful tool for you guys. Yeah, another good question about reports. Yeah, certainly can go into that. Not at this moment. If you want to discuss reports, you can get in touch with us, and we can kind of have a call about it. There's um, no reports on this audit history, so just be aware of that. If that is something we feel is a benefit, so of like pulling a report on this audit history, being able to export it, that's something we'll look at. But for now, it seems like for in regards to reports on this history, people you're just able to kind of filter it down and see it within just this view. Cool. All right, cool. Quiet crowd today. That's all right. Is there any other questions that I could answer? All right. Sounds good. Anything else pops up? Again, Kevin at servicebridge.com. Happy to help you guys out. If you need some assistance with this, just let me know. And we'll be back in 2 weeks again with more features. And look forward to speaking to you guys then.
Oh, okay. So you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I got disconnected. How long was the class for?
For the what?
So this session it was for what, a half hour, hour?
Yeah, every 2 weeks, every Wednesday, every other Wednesday, we're going to be doing a webinar for about a 30 minutes, depending on how many questions they have. But yeah, it's about a half hour
Okay.
of the session. And just be aware too, I do record all of these webinars. So if you had a team member who couldn't make it and is very interested in learning about these features that I went over, I do post them to our support page. It's just support.servicebridge.com. And if you click on
Hmm.
videos, you'll be able to find all the webinars that I've done in the past, which is like the last like
Okay.
seven or eight on the website.
Gotcha. If you had time, I had one quick question. I know it's getting to be toward the half hour mark,
No worries.
but so the uh, originally I was with a service CEO before I jumped over here, and you had a feature where I could go and see all the pictures that were taken online. Um, do I still have that with when I'm directly with Service Bridge?
Yeah, the picture's being transferred over.
Yes. How
Yeah,
do I go about doing that if that's possible?
yeah. You would have to speak to your representative as far as who kind of transferred the data over and make sure that they took care of that and that was something you wanted.
Oh,
Um,
no, no, not pictures transferred from the other company, but let's say I go out and do a job and I take a picture.
sure.
Um, it shows up on the work order. However, is there any other place or is there an email place
Oh, yeah. Good
within
question.
the software?
Yeah, within the work order screen here, if you just pull up the work order, if you go
Of
under,
course, right.
if you
Hmm.
go to photos, everything you take will lie here.
Okay.
So it'll also be on the work order itself, but then it'll also lie within
Hmm.
the photos field under the job.
Okay. So that's different than when that, because I use your Service Bridge mobile app with Service, desktop version, but it was a little different.
I see. Yeah, a little bit different than the with this version. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's how that shows up.
Hmm.
Okay. That was probably a big question that I had.
Oh, okay, great. Glad I can help. Cool. All right.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys? All right, sounds good. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks for joining. Have a great day.